Hello, everyone. You have successfully arrived to our introduction video for the Master Data Governance Comprehensive Guide. A couple of the authors have been kind enough to lend me some time to talk about the book, so they're here with me today to answer some questions. Hello and welcome. Would you both like to introduce yourselves and tell us a little bit about your background and expertise?
Sure, absolutely. Hi, my name is Dilip. I'm from SAP's Value Prototyping Hub. I've been with SAP close to 20 years now, and a lot of this time has been spent on working with customers on their challenges around master data and master data governance. I've been doing MDG ever since the first version was released, so we've been working with a lot of customers, helping them implement SAP MDG. So all of that knowledge is kind of culminated in this book that we've written for SAP Press.
Hello, everyone. My name is Srini. My full name is Syama Srinivasan. I go by Srini. I'm part of the North America consulting practice. I've been with SAP for more than 17 years now. SAP software, I've been working on SAP software close to 28 years. I started initially with the R2 for a few months and then switched over to R3. And since then, my SAP journey has been all different products and different solutions and helping so many different customers. And since the very first version of SAP MDG started, I've been working primarily in MDG, supporting a lot of multinational companies. And I've been working closely with Dilip from the very first version of SAP MDG. And all of that you can actually see in the book. We brought in a lot of experience and what we learned in so many different projects. It has culminated, as Dilip said. Yes, it has culminated in this book. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much for your introductions and for taking the time today to give us a little insight into the book, which is our third edition. It's our complete guide to MDG. So can you tell us what that means and start with a little bit of an overview of the book and just what is it about?
Dilip, you want to go?
Yeah, sure. So SAP MDG is one of the most successful products from the SAP portfolio. It's a very mature solution. It's kind of improved over the years to where it is today with a lot of customer adoption. Working with all these customers over the years, what we see is a little bit of knowledge gap between the full capabilities of the solution and what is actually being used on the ground by customers, right? So what we wanted to do was bring all our knowledge together, put it all together in a single book so that you find all the information in one place. And if you are a customer or you are a consultant who's implementing MDG, this could be one reference point where you would get the entire length and breadth of SAP knowledge out of a single book, right? So that was the kind of goal, that was the reason that we started putting this book together.
Awesome. So what will you learn by reading this book?
Basically you'll be learning more about SAP MDG as a product and how it should be implemented, what are the best practices and what tools and solutions are available in that, and a lot of practical examples. We try to provide a lot of examples which you can immediately apply in a lot of your projects, and it comes with a lot of knowledge and insights with the various authors all of us have gathered our experience over the years, and also it provides a little insight in the roadmap and the future, where the future of MDG data management or master data management is going. And also we try to provide a little bit of flavor of other tools which supports MDG, and it basically goes in depth. It starts from the basics, for the beginners, and it slowly develops into more and more complex solutions. So you can start with this book without knowing anything about MDG. By the same time, by the time you finish, you will have learned quite a bit.
So this is a third edition that has a few new, maybe updates that are featured in SAP S/4HANA. So what will readers find in this book that may not be in the second edition? What are the updates that have been going on?
See, when we started the very first version of this book, at that time, SAP on MDG on S/4HANA was not introduced. It was mainly on ERP. It was just coming. SAP on S/4HANA was just getting introduced when we wrote the very first version of this book. And over the years, the second edition introduced a lot of new concepts with the S4 focus. And we developed on the same theme. And as you can see, right from the very first version of MDG on S/4HANA, right now, we are on 2022 release of S/4HANA, and 2023 is just around the corner. So this book provides a lot of new innovations, new functionalities, which have been introduced since we wrote the second edition of the book, namely 2020 versions and several innovations, improvements, all of that we try to cover in this book. And it has been totally if you can see the format also on the chapters, it has also, we had to rearrange remove some old topics which were no longer relevant and add new topics. We also try to introduce a little bit of things on MDI and other two things, just brief introductions. And so it is a totally revamped and rewritten book, I would say. But it develops, it built on top of what already existed. Yeah.
You had mentioned that someone who doesn't know much about MDG can read this book, right? So who is this book for? What's the target audience?
So the book is for anybody who is working on MDG, whether you're somebody who is starting your MDG journey with your first implementation or first project on MDG, or you could be somebody very experienced in MDG, you've done multiple projects on MDG. Both these audience would find this book very useful, because we start with the basics, we explain the standards, but at the same time we go beyond the standard and also explain special use cases. We explain enhancements to standards, how you can build your own custom models, how you can leverage the framework for your own unique needs. So it goes to a quite advanced level in terms of coverage. Besides this, of course, we we don't abruptly jump into the details in the book. It starts slowly. It introduces you to the concept of master data management, talks about the whole ecosystem of data management, what tools and solutions are available. So it kind of eases you into the whole topic of data governance. And you will also find a small sneak peek into the future of master data management in an SAP landscape. So a little bit about the new way of looking at master data in SAP landscape, right? MDI, MDO, all of those concepts, orchestrated landscapes where master data is federated. So it also shines a little bit of light into the future state of master data management. So it's pretty much for anybody who is a practitioner of master data management at a customer, as an end user, or somebody who's implementing, designing master data solutions for businesses.
So this is essentially like the complete guide to using MDG for someone who's implementing, working with, extending MDG and is looking for just a step-by-step guide to MDG.
Yes.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've got a lot of feedback from our earlier versions. So we've used those feedback to kind of further improve, simplify, and clarify different parts of the books. So it's a culmination of multiple editions and filtering down of the best parts and corrections to wherever readers found it a little bit challenging with the earlier edition. So all of that is kind of filtered into this book.
And it's only getting better.
Yeah, and all the use cases you'll see in this book is all very practical. They're all from various projects, various experiences. What as a consultants and with supporting other different customers. So there's nothing just we did not imagine something. It is all real practical use cases from various different projects.
Great. Could you talk about the writing process? What was that like for you both?
Oh. The writing process. See, when we were writing this book, we wanted to write about something which is totally current in the market, which the version we wanted to make sure. And having said that, that means we don't have a system to work on. So we had to go the hard way. We ourselves internally, we had to build, configure the latest version of the system. I mean, most of the customers would not have even, at that time when we were writing this, none of the customers were on that version of the book, what we are writing. So we didn't have anything to fall back on. So we had to set up our own system, and we have to make sure we get the screenshots, correct screenshot, all the use cases, we have to set it up and take the real screenshots. Whatever screenshots you see in the system, they're all from live practical examples, which we set up. So that was from the customizing and point of view. But after we completed the book, it was peer reviewed by other authors and also other experienced practitioners and our product colleague from SAP product team. So everybody has reviewed it. So whatever you see, it is very practical, I would say, and which can be applied straight away into so many different situations.
Dilip, do you have
You want to add
your own
anything,
experience?
Dilip?
Yeah, sure. So Srini and I are MDG experts, right? We're not experts at content creation in a book, right? So quite a few challenges around that. We're good at working with MDG, but if you ask us to create images, write text in a certain format, do all the alignments, we were a little lost there. So that was a challenging part. So we didn't realize there's so much of work that is needed beyond knowing about the product, doing the little bit of research to make sure our explanations were complete. Beyond that, arranging the text in the right format, getting the right images with the right clarity, so when it's published, it looks good. All of that was new to us. It was despite the fact that we've written a couple of books before and we've gone through this process. This is not our area of expertise, right? So that was a little bit difficult to work with, but we got used to it eventually. And the other thing, like Srini mentioned, we've been implementing MDG at customers, but when we are asked to write a book, we have to do a little bit more thorough research because there will be topics which maybe have not been so widely adopted by customers, simply because maybe a lot of them didn't even know those features existed. So we had to go and do some of the research ourselves to get the right content, which we can then simplify and put in the book together. And of course, it helped that we had multiple co-authors working together, so we could peer review each other's work, correct mistakes that each other has made. But doing this together with all the other project work and customer engagements we had was tough.
Yeah, it was challenging at times, yes.
Indeed.
And when you say you were working with multiple authors, I believe there were 10 on this book or so, right?
Not
I think we had 5 active co-authors,
yeah.
And then the remaining were experts who contributed some sections, or they kind of peer reviewed the work that we did. Yeah.
Okay. Still,
and also they were part. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
No, the other authors were also part of the earlier versions of first edition. So we had to, because we are building on those editions also, right? It was not brand third edition, which came out, was not totally new book. It was building on the first edition and second. So we had to certainly give credits to the other authors. But for this third edition, as Dilip was mentioning, the very active authors were 5. It was not 10. But the other 5, you'll see they have contributed in the earlier versions, edition 2 and 1.
But it's a very vast topic.
It's a very vast topic.
It required that many people to contribute because it had a very very wide coverage of the topic and very deep coverage of the topic as well.
A very comprehensive book on MDG.
In the handful of authors that you worked with, they were from various parts of North America and Asia, right? So
right.
How were you able to manage to coordinate the authoring with working with people from different parts of the world and different time zones?
Yeah, that's right. It was challenging. Working across time zones, and at the same time supporting a lot of this big multinational customers. We have commitments and family time, etc. It was pretty challenging. So most of us were on a full-time on-site at customers' project. That was before the pandemic. So most of us were on-site. It was a little challenging to collaborate and work together. And so there were a lot of late evenings, weekends, and family time missed. So a lot of sacrifices had to be made. At the end, it is. I would see it as a labor of love. I mean, we love the product. We like what we are doing. So we enjoyed the whole process, working together and sharing the knowledge. It was really a very good experience, even though it was challenging and across time zones. Do you want to add anything, Dilip? Anything you want to add?
So I think the fact that on customer projects as well, we work across time zones. Work with virtual teams globally. I think that helped because we had to pretty much use that experience when we were writing the book as well. I think if I'm not wrong, Srini, we had authors in North America, we had authors in Asia, we had peer reviewers in Europe and India.
Europe.
Right?
Yeah.
So kind of pretty much covering across the globe.
Yes.
So I think when we were writing the book, we had like a project plan, just like executing a project. So we had different people with different responsibilities doing their parts, and then we would come together in a call every couple of weeks to see how far we've progressed, to get doubts clarified, discuss the topics that we're struggling with. So almost like doing an MDG project in that sense, right? So I think a lot of that experience helped us, but time zone wise, it was a challenge.
That's right.
So essentially just took a lot of time management and organization because,
Absolutely.
you're not full-time authors, you're MDG experts with customers, and, you have to manage your time with juggling the book and deadlines, and then making sure you keep your customer commitments. So basically it's organization.
Yes, absolutely. In fact, in between this time, a couple of us had to go through some major go live, and some of us were so busy with that. How this big multinational go lives systems, it takes away a lot of your time. So people are involved in cutover activities at the customer side or go live. So it was challenged. But still, everything came out well.
It did. It was worth it in the end.
Yeah.
So there were a lot of challenges and, sacrifices you have to make. But did you have a favorite part about writing the book?
Yes.
I think it was. Go ahead, Srini.
No. Please go ahead.
I think the good part was that even though we've been working on this topic for so many years, when you're writing a book like this, there is a lot of learning. We learned so much more about MDG as part of writing the book as well, because a lot of things we didn't think about so much. We just knew how to do some of them. But when we had to write a book, we had to do a little bit more research into, to be sure that the content was accurate. And this helped us also learn a lot of new things, which I personally haven't thought about when I was implementing MDG at customers, right? So that was one of the good parts. A lot of new learnings, even after so many years of working on this solution.
When you finally handed in the manuscript after all of that work,
Yes.
and you could take a breath, you saw the light at the end of the tunnel. Did you celebrate in any way?
Oh, yeah. Yes. I remember distinctly the day. It was such a relief. I don't know how to describe it. It was, as I was telling you earlier, this book. It was a big process and learning process, and so much sacrifices gone into, not only from our side, from our families have to put up with us, so many evenings lost, so many weekends lost. And it was, I would still consider it a labor of love. I mean, love for the product and love for the book and the subject. So, but a lot of it was not just us sacrificing. It was a family was also sacrificing. My kids were putting up with all this. So when we finished at that time, we really went out, celebrated. We went to a nice together as a family. It was a very relaxing evening. We had a nice dinner and relaxed. That's how I did.
It sounds lovely, though. It's like it's a breath of fresh air, and you can be with your family again, and like, I don't have this stress on me anymore. Well, at least
Getting
with
your
this.
weekends back.
Yeah. Dilip, how did you celebrate?
As Srini was saying, a lot of weekends, a lot of evenings, because the weekdays were consumed by customer engagements, right? So this always had to be done afterwards, either in the evenings, late nights. And since we had the time zone difference, it was usually me doing late evenings, and then the Srini and other colleagues doing early mornings, and we used to find a slot. So and then a lot of work used to happen in the weekends so that we can, hit those deadlines that we had for the book. So it was a lot of time spent outside working hours. So it added kind of to the really busy weeks we had. So when we finished, it was a big sigh of relief, happy relief, right? Because it turned out quite well. Once we reviewed it, we felt good about all the time we'd spent. Unfortunately, we're all in different time zones. So the only party we could have was a virtual one with virtual high fives, right?
Yes.
In a call. And then, was a happy weekend. That weekend was a happy weekend, having got back the weekends again.
Oh, I bet. Did either of you ever think you'd become an author? You're MDG experts, but did you ever think, I'm going to write a book about MDG or anything?
Wow. Definitely didn't think I'll write a book about MDG. I've done some writing in my younger days, but it was nothing technical in that sense, right? It was fiction or something else, something creative. So I liked writing, but once you get busy with your work, there's hardly any time to think about other things. So it was also a wonderful opportunity that we got to actually write. Though once we got into it, we realized, oops, it wasn't an easy exercise, right? But it was a great opportunity to write. So it was a good idea to kind of get involved and write down all those years of experience and project and kind of put it in a way that it can be consumed by others. So, but never thought I would end up writing a book on MDG. We did actually, Srini and I did it already once together. So it's kind of a second time doing it together, but never imagined we would actually do it.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I would if you'd asked me before all this started, I would not. I don't think I was thinking that I'll become a writer, especially the technical MDG book. But in my childhood, I had maybe that itch in me to do something, right? I used to write small poetry when I was in high school, but not really big, lengthy books or anything. But it was. But I honestly, I didn't know that I was going to write. But now, yes, I can. I think I can do it. And as a matter of fact, Dilip and I, when the very first version of MDG on S/4HANA came out, we had collaborated and wrote another book in SAP Press book. That's the one which you was referring to. Mm-hmm. That was a smaller version, just giving all the new features in S/4HANA, MDG on S/4HANA.
Fantastic. Well, thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me. It's very difficult to try to get people together when we are in different time zones. It's tough. So I really appreciate it. And I wish you both the best. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you, Alyson.
Thanks, Alyson. Yeah, thanks for the patience.